What are high achievers not seeing when they prepare for retirement? Why does conventional retirement advice leave capable people still feeling uncertain? How do we build confidence in our next chapter, not just in our net worth? In today's video, we're going to talk about why doing everything right can still leave high achievers feeling unexpectedly uncertain about retirement, and how to see the parts of readiness that don't show up in spreadsheets. If you're organized, responsible, and used to planning ahead, you're probably doing exactly what most retirement advice tells you to do. You check your accounts, you track your savings, you project your balances, you run the numbers. And on paper, it all looks reassuring. So when a sense of unease shows up anyway, it can feel confusing, even a little unsettling. Here's what's actually happening. High achievers don't miss blind spots because they're careless. They miss them because achievement trains you to focus on what's measurable. And some of the most important aspects of retirement readiness can't be tracked, optimized, or calculated on a spreadsheet. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 pre-retirement blind spots that high achievers almost always miss. Not because they're unprepared, but because these areas live outside traditional planning. We'll look at what's happening internally, what's changing externally, and what factors shape your retirement satisfaction. By the end of this video, you won't just know what the blind spots are. You'll know how to assess them calmly, clearly, and without overwhelm. I'm Tanya Finks, not a financial advisor, just someone like you who's 5 to 10 years from retirement and determined to make the next chapter our strongest yet. After decades coaching people through major life and career transitions and years inside complex corporate systems, building structure and process where there wasn't any, I now apply that same lens to retirement because this season of life is too important to leave vague. So let's pause for a moment, just long enough to see what your strengths may not have been showing you. Because when you understand why these blind spots exist, you can stop second guessing yourself and start seeing the whole picture. Here's what can happen for you as a high achiever. You're trained to track metrics, KPIs, deadlines, account balances, performance reviews. If it can be measured, you notice it. If it can be quantified, you track it. And that skill has served you incredibly well. It's probably a big part of why you're successful. But here's the problem. Some of the most impactful aspects of retirement readiness can't be tracked on a spreadsheet. Things like what happens to your sense of purpose when your job title falls away, the quality of your relationships outside of work, whether your body can actually support the life you're planning, how much real energy you have, not just discipline, and what gives your days structure when no one is setting your schedule. These things don't show up in your 401k statement. They don't appear in retirement calculators, but they quietly determine whether retirement feels like freedom or feels disorienting, lonely, or surprisingly flat. And here's what matters. High achievers don't overlook these areas because they don't care. They overlook them because these areas aren't part of the system that we've been trained to monitor. If it isn't measured, reviewed, or benchmarked, it tends to stay in the background until it doesn't. Because by the time these unmeasured areas get loud enough to notice, they're often already shaping daily life, your energy, your sleep, your relationships, your sense of who you are outside of what you produce. And that's when people start saying, I was so looking forward to this, so why doesn't it feel the way I expected? That's not a failure of effort. It's a gap in awareness. So what are the specific blind spots that show up most often, even for people who are financially prepared and highly capable? Once you see the 5 areas where these gaps tend to hide, you'll know exactly where to focus your attention without turning retirement into another overwhelming project. There are 5 blind spots that show up again and again, even for people who are doing well financially, not because they're irresponsible, not because they didn't plan, but because these areas don't live on the same dashboard as money. Let's walk through them so you can recognize where your attention has been going and where it hasn't. Blind spot number 1, money clarity versus money accumulation. Most people focus on accumulation. How much do I have? How much am I saving? How fast is it growing? But they skip clarity. What does my real life cost? What does enough actually mean for me? Research shows many people approaching retirement can tell you their account balance, but can't tell you their expected monthly expenses in retirement. They're tracking the wrong number. The money might be fine. The life planning often isn't. The blind spot is knowing how much you have without knowing what it's meant to support. Blind spot number 2, health and independence. Most people assume they'll deal with their health later when they have more time. But the habits you build in your 50s and early 60s largely determine how independent you'll be later. Many high achievers built careers in environments that rewarded performance but quietly punished physical well-being. Years of sitting take a toll. Let me know in the comments if you resemble that remark. The blind spot is planning for financial security without planning for the physical ability to enjoy it. Blind spot number 3, relationships and connection. Many people think, I have family, I have friends, I'll be fine. But when work goes away, you often lose daily interaction, shared challenges, and the relationships built into your routine. Most retirees don't expect how much they'll miss that. The blind spot is assuming current relationships will automatically fill the gap. Blind spot 4, purpose and engagement. Retirement sounds wonderful until the structure disappears and you're not sure what your days are actually for. Psychologists call this an existential vacuum, a sense of emptiness when long-standing roles fall away. Purpose isn't just emotional, it's protective. The blind spot is planning to stop working without exploring what will replace the meaning work provided. Blind spot 5, energy and daily rhythm. Most planning focuses on the big picture. When can I retire? How much do I need? Very little attention goes to the daily picture. What will my days actually feel like? People often say, I fought for this freedom and now I feel guilty for not enjoying it. The blind spot is planning for the destination without planning for the day-to-day experience of living there. These blind spots don't mean you're failing. They mean you're human, and they mean you've been focused on what's measurable, which is exactly what high achievers are trained to do. So the real question becomes, how do you assess these areas without turning retirement into another overwhelming project? This is where the annual alignment ritual comes in. High achievers track performance. This is how you track alignment. It's a simple, once-a-year check-in. 30 to 45 minutes, done intentionally, around your birthday, the start of a new year, or any natural pause point. This isn't therapy. It's not journaling for pages and pages. It's not reinventing your entire life. It's a structured moment of awareness for each of the 5 blind spot areas. You ask yourself just 3 things. 1 honest question, 1 signal of alignment, 1 small next step. That's it. Not a full plan, just enough clarity to see where you are. At the end, you capture 3 things. 1 area that feels strong, 1 that needs attention, and 1 step you'll take in the next 30 days. This isn't about fixing your life. It's about seeing it clearly. Because when you can see where you're aligned and where you're drifting, you can make small course corrections early before they turn into big, painful adjustments later. And if you're thinking, is it too late? Here's the truth. This window, right now, is actually the most powerful moment you have. Ages 50 to 65 are the last best window to notice and address these blind spots before they quietly shape your retirement experience. You still have time to get clear on your retirement lifestyle cost, build strength and independence, deepen relationships, explore purpose beyond your job title, and design daily rhythms that feel satisfying. Small awareness now prevents big regrets later. You've already done the hard part. You've built a life through decades of effort and responsibility. This isn't tearing anything down. It's about honoring what you've built and making sure the next chapter actually feels as good as it looks on paper. The annual alignment ritual is part of a resource I created called the Clarity and Confidence Pre-Retirement Checklist. It provides a deep dive into the 10 core areas important to creating a retirement where you thrive, not just survive. The annual alignment ritual walks you through all 5 blind spots with 1 question, 1 indicator, and 1 next step for each. It's free, and the ritual takes about 30 to 45 minutes. You'll know where you're aligned, where you need to pay attention, and what 1 small step would make the biggest difference right now. You can download it in the description below. And remember this, you've built success through discipline and intelligence. This is about fulfillment and awareness. Blind spots aren't weaknesses. They're simply parts of life your strengths don't automatically notice. You're not behind, you're not failing. You're ready to see the whole picture. And once you can see it, you're no longer guessing. You're choosing. This video is part of the Prepare for Retirement Holistically series. If you want to go deeper into each of these areas, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're wondering how these blind spots connect to the bigger retirement picture, that's exactly what the next video explores. I'll see you there, Posse. And remember, the best chapter of your life isn't behind you. It's the one you're building now.